I want to show you the Nightscout tab. This is just for people who have Nightscout set up. It'll be grayed out if you don't have Nightscout. Um, One thing I do want to mention, I've already entered my password in here. So if you have a little lock icon instead of the plus sign here, go ahead and click it. You'll be asked to enter your password. Make sure you click save option underneath the password entry so that you don't have to enter it again. This is pull to refresh, so you can just drag down to refresh. There have been times when the cache or the cookies have gotten sort of locked or messed up. Usually the easy solution to that is to come under the hamburger menu, that's what the little three lines are called, and click reports, and then click the X out of reports, and that should trigger a refresh of the whole thing. The only thing usually you'll need to use this tab for is care portal entries. So you can click the plus sign. It looks like I accidentally double clicked or something in the other one. You can click the plus sign. The only ones you want to use in here when you're using loop follow are BG check, note, pump site change, sensor start, temporary override, and override cancel. Now, if you're using remote carbs or remote bolus branch, I have not tested loop follow with that. I do not know how that functions. With a lot of these, for instance, if you enter carbs, you don't want to enter them in loop, but you want them entered in Nightscout. Nightscout saves these entries as strings in computer language. So if you enter a carb amount here, it's technically, while not spelled out like the number 5 versus FIVE, it's still treated as text rather than treated as a number, where Loop treats it as a number when it uploads it. So you never want to enter carbs, bolus, basal, etc. in Care Portal of Nightscout. I do have most of the code everywhere I've been able to find in loop follow set to ignore those, because otherwise it will crash the app. If you encounter loop follow crashing, the absolute first thing to check is to go into your treatment report and look for anything that you manually entered. It's usually going to be a manual entry of a carb or a bolus, or you meant to do a BG check. You meant to enter BG check, but you accidentally picked carb correction and typed BG in here. That will also cause the issue. Now, BG checks, notes, pump site change, sensor start, those will all show up as colored dots in loop follow. So a gray dot is a note. You can tap that note and you can see what the note says. BG check is a red dot. You can tap it and see the BG check. Sensor start and pump site change, I forget the colors, but those will show up. And then the other thing that shows up is suspend resume that have been triggered by loop. So those will show up also, so you can see when the pump has been suspended and resumed. So that is the Nightscout tab. The last thing I'll mention with this, if you're wondering why every time you open Nightscout, it's always just gray dots without all the info, and you're regularly coming in here, picking all of your defaults and all of your plugins, you can go into your Heroku variables and you can use the option show plugins to add all the plugins. Usually it's just about everything from your enable line needs copied over there. That'll set those by default. You can also use, for instance, I think it's called basal rendering, to set the default basal rendering that you want to show. And that way, every new browser that you open Nightscout in will show up exactly the same in that manner. So that's it for the Nightscout tab. Check the other videos out for the rest of the tutorials.